whatever it is, Sunday. So on this sunny Sunday, I'm bringing you a question related to the last video, which was about, the fact that you will probably never be Bitcoin rich, right? Unless you already have multiple Bitcoins or at least one and don't need to ever touch it. By the way, this also goes for other crypto, right? Like other assets. If you don't already have an amount and you're not DCAing and you think you can just, hope to hold on to some meager amount and maybe that'll make you rich, the answer is it probably won't. Now, it could be that you accumulate over time and you get your portfolio to be a certain size. And in another 20, 30 years, it'll have significantly more value than it has now, like many more times even, especially if you buy a bunch of cheaper coins that have significant room for growth on returns, to which I always tell people, don't dislike Litecoin. Right? But yeah, why would you hold any Bitcoin if it won't make you rich? Well, the answer might surprise you. Okay, so yes, at the moment, one of the big problems with it is that the vast overwhelming majority, nearly all of it, is held by huge wallets. And they're not wallets that ever need to sell it. These are wallets of people who already have all the fiat money, so they're already wealthy, and they can diversify their assets. If they get to a situation where this dollar starts to indicate to them that they got to get out of the dollar more and more, they have assets they can use to buy either more Bitcoin or other assets that they might like to hold instead, whether it be real estate or other cryptos or other stocks or whatever, gold, anything, they have choices, right? They're already the wealthiest people on earth, the people that hold all the Bitcoin. So they don't care, right? And they don't need to sell any, which means the tiny amount that's left for people, like real people, is around 3% of the Bitcoin. Call it 6% if you're lucky, whatever. But it's around 3%. So if 3% to 6% of the Bitcoin is actually what the world is going to use for liquidity, there's a very, 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 very small chance that you will join the ranks of the massive Bitcoin whales. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not saying you should stifle your dreams, and I'm not saying you shouldn't go for gold or go for broke or go for whatever, right? Do it, right? Change the world. Become the next billionaire or trillionaire. Become the first trillionaire, I guess. Right? But most of you aren't going to do that because you have a life and you don't want to just make your life about that. And people that generally achieve massive financial wealth are also not entirely focused just on money. They're focused on making a thing that just becomes successful at scale. And then that just brings them oceans of capital, right? Without trying for it, right? If you make a great product or service that people just want, they'll pay whatever it costs if it's a fair price or what they perceive to be a good price, then oceans of money, right? But usually that takes a lot of capital to create the product, to market it, to sell it, to maintain it, support it, etc. So why should you hold any Bitcoin if it won't make you rich? Again, what's the point? Well, the point is, at least for now, Bitcoin does remain a decentralized technology, not a decentralized currency, because it's not decentralized. When you got 13,500 people controlling 91% of an asset, right, on an asset that's designed in theory to be able to support all the people on Earth, it's not decentralized. There's less than 0.0001% of all the people on Earth have all of it, right? The 6% is like scraps for the rest of humanity. And it's not 6%, it's really like 3% actually in the hands of retail holders for now. So, what can be done? Well, with a decentralized technology, even if it's in the hands of large wallet holders, you still have the ability to transact values. That could be monetary. And it can be non-monetary, right? You can trade art with people. You can barter services. You can trade products, right? Or real estate or whatever. Other things, documents, information. There's a lot you can do with transacting values that don't necessarily have to be directly monetary. They don't necessarily have to be immediately liquid. Why is that important? It's important because the future ledgering for accounting purposes, the future of transaction accounting is very likely to look at blockchain ledgers, since it already does, right? Modern accountants who are hip with the times, they do that. They already use blockchain technology to look at blockchain ledgers and calculate net assets of their clients, etc. So it is a very useful device for managing finances. And if you are comfortable knowing that your ledger, if it's on Bitcoin, is publicly available, well, then that is a very useful device for you. Now, some people might be like, I'm not comfortable having my ledger be publicly available. Well, here's the thing. Just because it's publicly available doesn't mean anyone has to know it's yours, right? You can use all kinds of ways, and you can ask your accountant about it, of how to, make it so that your information remains private, even though the ledger is publicly available. There is no name tied to it unless you use centralized services. You can, for example, acquire Bitcoin with cash. In some places, you can do that without any KYC through Bitcoin ATMs or buying them directly from miners who might just send them to you if you happen to know any, or buying them from other Bitcoiners who might just happen to have some that they want to sell for whatever reason. There are ways to do that. There are even ways to do it where you can even buy it on your credit card and you can still keep it anonymous. Sounds impossible? I know, but it's not. Anyway, that's some of the reason that you might want to hold some Bitcoin, even if it'll never make you fantastically wealthy. The bottom line is it'll allow you to have uncensorable, peer-to-peer, direct transaction and exchange of values, which is not something that is just available to just anyone. It is if you use a blockchain, but if you don't, not so much. And right now, there's a lot of people on the planet who don't even know that this stuff exists. In fact, most people don't really know it exists, and even if they've heard of it, they have no idea what it is. So you can take advantage of that because you're still early. All right, that's it for now. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.